ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Retro Reminisce. My name is Killjoy, and I am joined by the two fellowship men here with me.
Two fellowship men with me.
To my right, Mr. Fruity Sour, how are you doing?
Hello, not bad. Just call me Frodo.
And how's your voice for a while, Dave?
Yeah, wasn't that something I did with these?
Like 3 months ago or something?
And to my other right, Mr. Sam Pippin, whatever the hell your name is, one of the Lord of the Rings characters, Mr. Mark Kitchen, how are you doing?
Surely
Good,
Mary's
yeah.
closest to Mark.
Mary, Mark, whatever.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Good.
This has been our best opening ever.
I know, it's fantastic. Retro Reminisce, as always, show talking about older games, what we like about them, what we don't like about them, and if they still hold up. And today we're looking at
our earliest memories of them as well.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, because we got to remember when we played them. And today we're going to be looking at a game called Game Ground, originally released in the arcades.
I've been massively pushing for probably since we started this thing.
Yeah, so we've definitely brought it up a few times, but played the Mega Drive version. It's on Mega Drive Master System, TurboGrafx, but originally in the arcades. 1991, I believe, is when it came out on consoles. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting one because Fruity's played a hell of a lot of this. I played this for the first time last year.
I think I'm the only person that played this on Mega Drive,
yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
Mr. Mark over there only played it today for the first time, so this is going to be interesting. So let's kick things off. We might as well start with you, Fruity. So talk about you when you first played this.
Yeah, I remember I used to rent this from a Sega Mega Drive like 1994, I guess. Yeah. Around then anyway. And then I remember eventually my mum got it for me for like my birthday or Christmas or something like that. So yeah, I had played it for a long time. And yeah, it's one of the main games I played on the Sega Mega Drive. Didn't realise that no one else knew what the hell it was until much later in life. But yeah, then they played it again on the Mega Collection.
Yeah,
on the PS3, was it?
Yeah, it came on the Xbox as well.
Yeah. So I played it again on that, which was nice to play with like actual mouse controllers and stuff. Yeah, I've played many hours of this game. Know all the strats.
I do remember actually you had this while you were at uni on your Mac, and I remember you were playing this in Shinobi, and I remember sitting watching it.
Another game I played far too much on Sega Mega Drive.
And I remember watching you play it, going, "Oh, this is cool," and you were like telling me about it, and I'd never heard of it. So, maybe I don't know how big it was. Like maybe it was huge, but
in my experience, no one else has ever played this.
Yeah. But that's thinking about a lot of it. Just thinking about this now, actually, a lot of Mega Drive games were like very arcadey, weren't they? Like Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, that. So that was kind of like the place to play these type of games.
Yeah.
So unlike the SNES, which was more like platform heavy for the most part, and like a lot of platformers and stuff. I don't think I can't think of many arcade games on there, apart from Smash TV maybe. But other than that,
yeah, it's true.
Well, I would come to you, Mark, but I feel like, let's say, what's your earliest memories of this? And you played it for the first time.
About 2 hours ago.
2 hours ago. I can speak to the fact that I played it a year ago on my computer, but
I'd never heard of this game until Dave said he wanted to do it for the channel.
Yeah.
I had not heard of it at all. I looked it up and there was just about a Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
A very sparsely populated Wikipedia page.
I think I'm the only. I'm surprised it was on the Mega Collection, to be honest.
Well, I think it's because it was made by Sega, so I think there's a lot of those classics.
Oh yeah, but they cut out a lot of those, didn't they? There's like.
Didn't they do Altered Beast as well? Was that them?
Yeah, Altered Beast was on that Mega Collection. Like a lot of the stuff was like cut out of that.
Yeah, the Mega Collection was really good actually. The amount of
Game
content.
Ground as well.
Yeah, that's the thing about it, like Vector Man and all this sort of stuff.
Like Alex Kidd.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I had no idea what to expect when I played this game. I didn't look up like what kind of game it was, any like footage or anything.
It's kind of hard to define. I think. What did you say? It's like
it's very similar
battle
to
strategy or like shooter.
Yeah, action strategy.
Yeah, I guess that's how you'd call it.
For people who've never played this game, it's like a top-down style game where you have different characters that shoot at enemies, and that's
you basically you win each level by either getting all your characters through the exit or by killing all the enemies on the level. If you rescue your allies and take them to the exit, you have them for the next level. And if one of your characters dies, you can pick them up, take them through the exit, and you still have them in the next level. They're only one at a time, so if multiple people die, the last person to die is the one that's left alive.
Yes, so they override the last one.
And you basically, then you have like high attacks and like flat attacks. So you either shoot on your like normal trajectory. If things are on like a hill or in trenches, you need like a high attack. And yeah, you have some special abilities, but it's pretty much just kill everything or just try and keep moving from one end of the screen to the other.
Slightly bullet hell-esque. In the
Yeah.
later levels
In
especially.
the later levels, yeah, she start off with like people with like spears and bows, and by the end of it you have like armored units, and tanks and machine guns.
Yeah.
Then it's very much trying to dodge the bullets.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
guess
it gets fucking hard.
it's not an easy game, and you can definitely tell that it's an arcade game. It has that look and
Yeah, but it has like a layer of strategy where
Yeah.
like I really like about it. Where like as we were playing through the levels, like knowing like oh you need this character for this level, and this character makes this level way easier. Like learning the strategies of how to go around the enemy. Like the second boss can't hit one of the main fire people. That
Yeah.
can fire from a distance.
so it's like.
So you easily wipe them out.
I think also as well, if anyone's ever played Gauntlet, it has a similar like look and feel to that. Like not quite the same, but the idea that you're running through and just murdering loads of stuff. You don't really see many games like this anymore. I mean, it's that kind of. It definitely was of its era. You do get. I remember arcade games that kind of like scroll. I know this is static screens for the most part, but the games that you would usually run up in similar style as
The
that.
only thing that like scrolls the levels when you fight the tank, and then like the garage door opens up.
Yeah.
Other than that, like all the backgrounds are completely like static.
All right. Well, I mean, there's not really much more we can say about earliest memories on it. So
Yeah,
let's go on to things we like about it. We'll start with Mr. Mark over there. Like, what do you like about this game?
I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me when I was playing it earlier was the music.
Music's great.
Like, yeah, it was a real throwback to the 16-bit era for me. Reminded me of that whole arcade kind of early 90s kind of style of music. And I've still got it in my head now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just going
The
around.
first level.
And then but all the other levels have really good music as well. So,
The city level
yeah.
I liked. It's very like Streets of Rage-esque, very funky kind of sounding piece of music.
Yeah.
I think that's what's good about like the Mega Drive in general. I'm always going to bring this up whenever we talk about Mega Drive games, but it's that chip in there for the sound is just like really iconic.
Yeah.
So like the music in this has that kind of Golden Axe, Streets of Rage sort of style of stuff, and it's really just like pumps through really nicely.
Yeah.
Really, really nice use of just what they had of technology at the time.
Yeah, I thought that was really awesome. I really like the character selection. There's quite like a broad range of characters, and they all have different like benefits, like speed at which they move, and like obviously most noticeably the weapons. So I really like the broad range of weapons. You get the spears and the tornado thing.
Yeah.
You've got the boom, fire, the boomerang. Like it's really cool. There are a lot of games coming out at that time that didn't have such a broad range of weapons at your disposal, I suppose. So.
Yeah, no, it's really fun when you get someone you've never used them before. You're like, oh, what does this person do? And there's some that are similar, but then you realise that they do have different traits. It's like, oh, this guy's got a bow and this guy's got a bow, but one can fire further and one can fire like in more directions and stuff with their specials.
And how you can read it from like below their character picture what they do. If it's like H for like high, L for long range, M for medium.
Yeah.
So you know what their special attack does.
Yeah.
If it's like a grenade or elemental bow or something.
Yeah.
It's quite useful.
I like the kind of strategizing which came through from
Playing
co-op.
Yeah.
I was no good at it, so I noticed it more when I was watching YouTube play it.
Yeah.
Because you were telling each other what to do, like which enemies to take out first, or which route to take, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was quite nostalgic for me in the way it reminded me of a lot of old co-op games that involved a bit of like strategizing. Can't think of any right now, but
well, I mean,
Streets of Rage comes to mind. Yeah, those kind of games.
It's like idea like splitting the resources as well. Like in Golden Axe or Streets of Rage, like who needs the health, but in this game it's like who needs the characters because that's your lives.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's collecting each character and going, okay, you should probably take these two. I'll defend you or whatever. It gets harder in the later levels because most of the enemies move at that point. But the beginning levels you can kind of go like, okay, you take these guys.
Some of the corridor levels is so hard.
Yeah, it kind of comes into what I was saying about the broad range of weapons. Like you have to decide which ones you want to use and then strategize around it depending on what the level is like.
You want to save like certain characters for later on as well. Because like in the early levels, the guys of like the bazooka, like the rocket launcher and stuff, they're quite weak in the first episode. A lot more enemies move.
Yeah.
But in the end, in the levels near the end, whereas the enemies are static and they shoot really fast.
Yeah.
So having long range, slow moving characters is really useful in like the last like stage rather than like the earlier ones when you get them.
That's about it, really.
That's about it for you, is
I
it?
mean, I did enjoy it to some extent. The think not having the nostalgia there probably means I didn't like it as much as
Sure.
I may have done. I thought that some of the levels were pretty cool, like mixed it up a bit, you know, having little different routes around and different bits of terrain and things. But I'll let you guys have a.
I'll come to you last, Fruity, because you're probably going to have the most things to say on this. For me, it's basically everything Mark's just pointed out. Like, music is phenomenal. The character selection, like the fact that there's 20 playable characters, is really good. And again, I put strategy in the co-op because, you know, it's that idea that splitting those characters and saying what you need and things, it works really well. And that actually surprised me, because when I originally played this game, I only played it single player, and I was like, God damn, this game is really, really hard. And
it's definitely easier co-op.
yeah, and like, I think that fact that you can basically be like, right, you do long range and I'll do, you know, shooting over walls and stuff makes it easier. Obviously, playing with you made it a lot easier because you knew all the levels.
Master of this.
Yeah, you knew the levels and stuff, so you know you can pause it when the levels turns up and just look at the map and be like, okay, so. And I think another thing is learning the enemies, because every 10 stages you switch up to a different place, and for the most part you have similar style enemies.
Basically,
but you've got to
go
learn.
through time.
Yeah.
So like the range with bows become like bombs and grenades.
Yeah.
And then the later
Yeah,
levels.
because when I first started playing it, when they were throwing spears, I thought if I even went near them, it would hit me. I was like, how am I going to get near them? And then I realised it doesn't hurt you until it comes down.
Yeah,
because it's meant to be going into the air, but because it's 2D top down, you can't see any.
Yeah, you just see the slight curve of like the trajectory.
Yeah, you have to kind of, because when you throw like a spear, if you're using a spear guy, sort of the spear gets bigger, doesn't it, before it gets smaller again. That's kind of the way of showing it's going up and over.
Yeah.
Which,
quite an interesting mechanic, really.
once you realise that's happening, it makes you a hell of a lot easier.
When you get the spacing down as well, you know, you can go right up next to him and shoot.
I think that's the thing, because obviously when me and Mark played it, we never had a manual when we played this and stuff. So obviously you're telling us like what things are, and once I worked out like what all the symbols mean and like how things work, it was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And it was like, right, now I can pick the character right for that situation. So I definitely echo the whole strategy side of things. I think that playing it 2-player, like, I actually like really enjoyed that aspect of it. Going like, oh, cool, like this guy's really good for this. Like, there's some characters I think that definitely are worse than others, but I think generally as long as you've got sort of 2 that can kind of do different things, and you're all right.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's the things I really liked about it. For the most, Mr. Fruity, I imagine you've got other things that might be similar, but
yeah, I'm trying to think of the good bits. I really like how the levels and like enemies change as they go through time.
yeah,
Like the weird like demons.
yeah,
Like the statues and stuff, and then you get to like tanks and then like sci-fi like weapons and stuff.
the robots.
Yeah, like how all the levels are like the same, but like they all feel kind of different. They managed to do a lot of different and like feel to each level. It seems there's like 50 levels of like the same size.
Thinking about that, it's 50 levels on a static screen.
Yeah.
So that's actually fair play to them. That's actually
Managed to
quite
make
impressive.
each one,
Yeah.
it's like even like in the same areas they feel different. Like even though the later ones have like street lights and like cars and stuff, and even like the old ones with like the forts and stuff.
Yeah.
They still feel like different. They don't really feel they don't feel like they're using the same assets or something.
No, like it's all different.
Just changing the colour palette.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I like the characters. Yeah, the strategies. Most things you've already said, really.
Yeah.
I really like how the UI is really clean and like easy to understand.
Yeah, the UI is really good at this.
You know how many people you have in and out. You know how many enemies are left. You know the time. Like everything's really easy to see. And, like,
Yeah, that is good actually.
I really like
You
that.
can, it helps you strategize if you know how many enemies there are to come.
Yeah. Time, enemies, all the things you need to know. Everything's on the screen.
Yeah.
I think everything's pretty clear. It's when you say about like the range attacks, like I can understand they're a bit confusing to know what's like on the same, what's going to hit you, and what you can like run under. I think they do quite a good way of like making enemies quite easy to tell what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you know if the guy's got like his arm backwards, so you know he's going to be like throwing bombs rather than like the guy shooting and stuff. I think they
got a gun there.
managed to make the enemies look quite different for like each role they do.
Yeah, I think part of it is also learning, because you're not gonna you've got to like jump into it and play it and understand that. But yeah, I definitely think that once you've done a few of the levels and you can understand, oh, that guy's got a bow, there's a very good chance he's going to fire up and over an object.
Yeah.
Whereas some guy's got a spear or a sword, where he's going to be running towards me and trying to like hit me and stuff. So
Yeah, the only thing sometimes it's like you don't know what's going to move towards you and what's not.
yeah,
It's kind of fun though. It's like the guys in the trenches when you like, get closer to them, they like, climb out and start like, attacking you and stuff.
that was the only thing that I found confusing, because they don't look like they're on a different level. Like
No.
I understand they're in a trench, so yes, it makes sense. But that confused me to start with. I was like,
Yeah,
why am I not
kind of
shooting these
limiting
guys?
when we did the level with like the floor barriers, so we couldn't walk past them.
But you could fire over
But we
them.
could fire over them. Yeah, it's like really hard to tell that you couldn't. That wasn't a wall
Yeah.
until I got shot by an enemy.
You're like,
It's
what?
like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like sometimes they're like a bit too busy, like in the design. I think most of the time it's pretty good. There's only a few instances where
Yeah.
I got screwed over by.
The level design, I would definitely agree.
height.
Would say it's for the most part fairly good in terms of it's fairly clean, and you can see what you're doing. And there was
Yeah.
definitely a few levels in there that I was like, no, this is bullshit. But other than that, I think there were like every level I was playing, I was like, right, this is where I can go. This the enemy's on the high ground, you know, and it made sense. So yeah, I agree with that.
I think that's everything for the good.
Cool.
All right, we might have a few. Might have a few gripes with this. Just throw it over to Mr. Mark. What don't you like about this game?
One of the things that kind of annoyed me the most was the hitboxes.
Oh Christ!
They're
Both
not particularly tight.
both trying to hit an enemy and them hitting you. In terms of attacking, I particularly noticed it when I was firing sideways at something, especially if it was up on like the high ground. I thought I was like perfectly in line with it, and then it kind of went up there, and it looked like it was hitting the enemy, but it wasn't registering
Yeah.
it, and I was like, where am I meant to fire from?
Yeah.
And I moved into a position where I thought I wasn't in line, and then that's where I had to hit it
Yeah.
from. And it kind of takes away from the skill of it, I suppose. Like, you think you're going to strategize. You're like, right, I'm going to stand right here so that I'm avoiding something but also going to hit them. And then you're like, oh, but then my attack didn't hit, so
Yeah.
my strategy has gone to waste. And then, yeah, also with the getting hit as well. Yeah, I just didn't understand some of the... I kept thinking I was going to get hit. And then when I got hit, I was like, how the hell did that happen? That was completely unfair. Some of the hitboxes were a bit off.
I definitely think as well. There was an archer guy, and like on one of the levels, there's a particular level with these pillars, and like I don't like this level because hitboxes on the pillars are really odd. You think you're above it, but actually you can't walk past it. But there was a crossbow guy at the top, and he was firing up and over the pillars.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that's his attack. And then when I went up to the side of him, he just shot me straight away. And I was really shocked because I was thinking, oh, I thought that was the whole point, was his attacks would always go up before they come down. And that was kind of frustrating and also kind of confusing because I was thinking, I can't get hit by this because his attack plan is to fire up and over.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that was just because they can attack in a straight line, but like that was like a very one specific.
They can't attack in a straight.
Yeah, it was very
I'm
weird.
not quite sure what happened there.
It was very
It's
odd.
because you were like near the edge of the level. So
Yeah.
maybe it like pulled the attack into it's like still in parameter. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was odd.
That was a strange.
Because I that was definitely one of those moments I was like, this is like ridiculous, and I felt like I've been cheated out of a character. But I mean that particular instance of whatever was going on with that hitbox was a very contained thing that
Yeah,
wasn't there all the time.
I don't think. I mean, I'm not quite sure what happened there.
Yeah, very odd. So
So yeah, that was a bit frustrating.
yeah, I can agree with that.
I kind of got a bit annoyed how slow some of the characters are.
Mm.
I felt like some of the characters needed to be a bit quicker. Like there needed to be a slightly broader range of speed because there were points where you were trying to run away from a vehicle or trying to avoid some attacks, and it was just like moving too slow.
Yeah,
It's
the
just like,
trade-offs.
this is a bit like, not. I just want to be able to move around the screen a bit quicker so that
Yeah.
I can take people out quite quickly. It'd be a bit more fun, I think.
It is annoying when you get left with just like the big rocket launcher / like power armor people who are just really slow. Especially in the earlier levels, like
yeah,
it's really annoying. So when you're in the earlier levels, they just run towards you.
yeah.
They just like kill you by just like running onto you. So
But yeah,
it's really hard in the earlier levels.
Yeah, I
Slow
appreciate
guys.
this isn't meant to be like a running and gunning game, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I just felt like it was quite sluggish at times. I wanted to be able to dodge a bit more.
I think the faster characters definitely have the advantage in a lot of ways. I mean, you talk about that archer guy.
Yeah,
The archer guy.
the
is-
archers are overpowered. Like
Yeah.
both archers are just so powerful.
But I kind of devil's advocate that because I think that's part of learning the game. Like, if all the characters moved at the same speed, it'd be too easy, I
Yeah.
think. Like, I understand
Especially
they do...
like the rocket launcher
Yeah.
people and stuff who have like really powerful attacks.
Yeah,
Because like, they move really slowly, but then they also like
hit like a truck.
and just hit really far.
Yeah, like you can shoot like at least half of the screen, at least. You know, most of the time it's further than that. So
The big ones like the fireballs and just literally goes into the end.
Yeah.
It's so strong.
But yeah, I mean, as if you've never played the game before, in your instance, you hadn't played it till today, when you get one of those characters, you this is cool, it's a guy with a rocket launcher, and then suddenly you move at a snail's pace on a level that might be quite compact, or like enemies coming from all angles, it is quite frustrating.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say is that even though I felt like the levels were quite varied, I didn't really feel like I wanted to play 50 levels. I feel like once I got halfway through, I'd be like, I don't know, it's getting a bit samey now.
Yeah.
Although it did, obviously, the change of music and everything mixes up a bit, and you get new characters and things. Probably because I didn't get that far into the game because I was crap at it.
We got to what, the second
Watching
world?
like the time advance.
Yeah.
Streetlights and cars and stuff.
It's kind of like how I felt when I was playing Streets of Rage. I was like, I don't necessarily need to complete this.
Yeah. You've sat down, played a good sesh of it, and you're happy with it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a game that would obviously
I
benefit
still have
from
yet
save
to
states.
complete Game Ground.
Well, I mean, it's hard though. Those last few levels we did were tough.
You could do it by save stated.
Yeah.
I generally enjoyed it though. I thought it was a good game. I can definitely see how you would have loved it as a kid and have a lot of nostalgia.
There's a lot of
for it.
replay value there, isn't it? That's what's good about it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that kind of arcadey feel.
What don't you like about it, Dave? Any dislikes?
Do you want me to go? I'll go next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because I thought it would be better to be like the soft end to the.
We talked about hitboxes on like the weapons, and I want to talk a bit more about hitboxes on the terrain and also when you're playing co-op, it's like really easy. It almost feels like you get stuck on each other sometimes, and that was quite frustrating. Where like I know a lot of games back then you can't walk into each other and you can't walk through each other. We kind of expect that from a lot of stuff now, or at least it's easier to get around people. But it's like almost you take up more room than I think you visually do. And like that level where I was talking about with the pillars are just really confusing because you'll be behind it, obviously past it, but they obviously have a bigger hitbox. And that was frustrating on some of the levels where you just be like, I'm trying to walk past something and then or get between something and you get stuck and then you get like killed and you're like, oh, I feel like that wasn't my fault.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think that's just more of a bad visual indication.
I think it's kind of limits to the time.
Yeah, I mean it's
it's hard. They have like no like shading or like artistic ways of indicating where like the back of pillars are and stuff. Like depth is quite hard to convey.
It is a weird angle, I suppose, in some ways, but it's probably the best they could have done in that situation.
It's not straight over the top. It's at a slight angle. So like you have
like old school Zelda, isn't it? Like the top-down Zeldas are like technically at sort of they're top down, but they're at an angle. Everything's at an angle, aren't they? So
everyone's like sideways, even though you are actually top down.
Yeah,
so like it's
kind of three-quarter thing.
It's a weird perspective.
Isometric-ish. Yeah, but not quite. The other thing, I mean, I had a problem with this just purely. It was like some of the enemies and like shots versus the colours and stuff of the backgrounds. This might be more towards me because of being colourblind, but
no, that's one of my main things. I was going to say was the bullet colour.
Yeah,
it's a terrible choice.
Like that desert level was really hard to see.
Oh, you couldn't see what you were firing.
Yeah, no, it was less of what I was firing, but I just found sometimes I would even just some of the early levels where I was concentrating on whatever I was doing, and sometimes like an enemy would hit me, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And it's just the way that they would blend in.
Yeah.
And I think it was just some of the colour choices.
A lot of the bows and spears and stuff were like shades of brown.
Yeah.
Which is shades of brown on like a green and brown background. That's what the floors mainly are in the early game.
Yeah.
And then when you go to the desert areas, when you start having guns.
Yeah.
And they give orange bullets to like a sandy kind of brown background.
Yeah, and it was just difficult.
Some of the levels are like it's like an orange background with an orange bullet on top.
Yeah,
which I find really hard to see.
Yeah, it's a shame because like
I feel like they should use a different colour.
Yeah, because up until that point, even I had trouble with some of the earlier levels with just indicating stuff. Generally speaking, they do a good job of making it obvious what's going to hit you, what's going to attack you, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, especially with the difficulty by that third world that we got to, like, you've got these worm things shooting stuff out left, right, and centre, and these guys firing bullets.
Especially ones that fire at the little guys.
Yeah, and it's like there's so much going on the screen.
Walk towards you after they've been projected so far.
Yeah, and then it's hard to focus on them and the bullets and everything's just blending into one, and
it certainly ramps up when it gets to the third stage.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the other thing. I mean I put down level design near as a bad thing, but I think for the most part it's actually pretty good. So I'd say that's more of a pro.
I think it's good
couple...
with the limitations they had.
Yeah,
I'm kind of amazed you can move in like 8 directions quite smoothly in this.
Yeah,
which is pretty good for the era.
The game definitely runs well.
I kept like running up to get parallel with someone and then facing sideways, and then I was like, actually, I can face diagonally.
Yeah.
Quite surprising.
Yeah, no.
Especially having like 10, 12 characters moving on the screen at once.
Yeah, I mean, the game does run really well. Oh, just difficulty spike. Some of those levels, like, I don't know if it's just the design of them or where it's laid out and stuff, just occasionally you get these 1 or 2 levels that were just, you know, it fairly goes up fairly well. Then you get 1 or 2, it's like, boosh! It's like that one with
like with our first playthrough, where I was like, oh shit, because we lost this one character. It makes this level really
the one with the rooftops
now.
Yeah, and you have to got the thing.
Whereas like if we had the one character we needed the rocket launcher that fires upwards, then that level is really easy.
Yeah.
it's kind of annoying with these, and you lose that one specialist like unit,
and then it just makes it way harder.
Yeah, it makes levels really difficult.
Yeah, I think in terms of what I don't like about it, that's probably it. I think, you know, it's you kind of have to accept that it's of its time and it's an arcade game, so there's only so much you can really rag on it for. But
yeah, it just had its limitations. Like a lot of the games we talk about, that you can't really rag on their limitations.
Yeah, it's hard. It's not fair to put modern design choices and modern abilities onto everything.
No, absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to bring up that you didn't like about it, or have we covered all of it?
Yeah, the main things are pretty much the same things you picked up, like choice of like enemy like projectiles, like the colour choice of that on the background. Walking into other people is annoying. You kind of get stuck to each other. I think it's just because you don't have a completely like square hitbox. So when you kind of walk on each other, you get kind of stuck in the angles of your 2 hitboxes. Yeah,
you sort of get. There's also you do feel like you're kind of glued for at least a second.
As you touch each other, if you press left or if they're like below you to like the right, if you press down or right, you still stay stuck to them rather than most modern games. If you press towards them but at slightly less angle, you slide off.
Yeah.
Whereas on this one, if you press down, if a tiny bit of your hitbox is still covered by their hitbox, you won't move down.
Yeah.
Even though most modern games you'd have the actual objects have weight.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you just move. You move both, which just move. Like it's a limitation of like the time.
Yeah.
Say one thing I've found annoying, it's not a dislike. One thing I do find annoying is like if the character model has like the grenades in the left hand and the gun in the right hand, they always fire from like the right hand of the sprite.
Yeah.
Which is easy when you're walking towards an enemy because you know your bullets are coming slightly from the right hand side.
Yeah.
One thing I find hard is when you go diagonal or to the side, you then have to remember that like you're firing from the top of your sprite rather than like the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
So that amount of times, or like if I'm right-handed, it's like, oh sorry, I'll quickly shoot over this thing. You then realise that because the obstacle's on your right, you need a wider circle to shoot around.
Yeah.
Because you fire straight into the wall. Whereas if you're on right-handed and the obstacle's on the left hand, you need less of an angle.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a design choice. It's not really like a weakness, but that's something that gets annoying.
All the characters shoot with their right hand, don't they? With guns. All the gun guys
all of them are right-handed.
Yeah.
Because most of the off weapons are in like the
And then the bow guy fires from the middle, doesn't he?
Yeah, bows fire from the middle. Spears fire from the right as well. Then things like the rocket launchers and like the missile launchers and stuff are all pretty much dead center. They're a bit slightly to the side. And then like the magic spells fire straight from the center. Like the fire stays in place in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird because sometimes you would be fighting and you'd be like, "Oh,
could be
crap,
really
my gun's in the wrong
convenient."
hand.
I think it's by design. I think.
Because if depending on whether an enemy's on your left or the right, sometimes you'll actually shoot them and sometimes you just miss them depending on which way they're coming from.
Yeah, it's like what I said to you guys. Like, I really wish they'd do a remake or a sequel because like I think they could do something interesting with this. Because you don't really see many games like this.
No,
I feel like on modern systems you could do something really fun with this idea.
They should bring back the genre.
I think definitely is like considering static screen as well. Like they could easily make some really cool maps, especially with the technology nowadays.
Yeah, like the idea of like getting your squad together, like getting to the exit, shooting enemies. Like I can't think of many games like this. I mean, it was kind of like XCOM-y before like that was really a thing. it's got that kind of strategy thing. I can imagine you doing not like an XCOM thing. I'm sure that, but like a kind of a similar vein to that. Like, yeah, it'd be quite cool.
I think what they would need to do is make a remake of the game, like, but obviously just sort out just some hitboxes and stuff. Make it like new graphics, but make it still look, have that old school feel. Keep maybe the UI the same, because it's fairly clean. You just update it, and then make a remake of this, and then think about a sequel. Because I think if you remade this,
I feel like there's potential. I feel like this is
you could easily make like 50 characters
type where you haven't really. It hasn't really been explored as much as it could be.
I think it's like those old arcade games, because it's from that era. There are probably other games like this, but because you don't really see arcade games anymore.
Kind of before my time.
Yeah.
Like late 80s.
I'd be curious to actually look up and just see what, if I typed in, like what games are similar to Game Ground, what comes up. Because I think like early PC games, there was some that were similar to this. But
yeah, a lot of them do a similar thing. They normally do it like dungeon crawling or something like that. One screen.
Yeah.
It's quite a key design element. And we said about Gauntlet and stuff. So it's a similar idea, but like instead of having it all on one screen, which I really like, it's kind of like laying out like a board game or something. Like it's like everything's here. Like, if there's more enemies than what's on screen, someone will walk in.
Yeah.
But it's all on that one piece, which I like, so you can kind of plan out what you're going to do.
I think that's definitely as an arcade experience, that would have worked really well as an arcade cabinet, because you do only have one screen and it can only load up. It's like loading up one map per thing, and you go, right, okay, here's the coordinates for everything. And also the fact that they are
scrolling.
Yeah, I mean, you could potentially do this game with slight procedural generation using certain tile sets. I don't think it would work as well, because I think the fact that they're handcrafted. If you do like 50 levels that are handcrafted and maybe some remix levels.
Yeah, it's hard to have strategy and procedural generation. Because I think scrolling would take away from this game as well. I think you have to have it all on screen as part of its charm.
Yeah.
If you had scrolling where you can see everything from the beginning, it just being
that would be frustrating.
You choose a character, you're like, there's like high up people here, so we fine. Who's this guy? And you like get into the level, and it's like, oh wait,
there it is.
You can't kill any of these enemies.
Yeah. No, I'd be interested to see if Sega actually decided to. I could see them like re-releasing like a mobile version of this. I think that'd be quite good. Like pick up and play. Like I don't know how you do it like with touchscreen.
The problem is you need the A-direction movement. It's not tile based.
Yeah.
That's the only problem with doing it mobile.
Release it on 3DS. Do that. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Or Switch. No.
I'd like this as a portable.
Yeah, I'd play it as a port. It's definitely it's like that arcade experience that you pick up and play.
I definitely want more, because I've been playing this like 20.
You're like, I need a new one.
20 years. Jesus.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's pretty much it in terms of what we don't like about it. So let's get to the main thing then. So, Mr. Mark, do you think this game holds up?
I think I know what I was going to say.
Not really.
It won't hurt my feelings.
Sorry, I'm going to ruin Dave's childhood memories. But I don't think it's. I think if you gave it to someone who hadn't played it before, they'd be like, play it for a bit and get frustrated with it and stuff. I think it's quite nostalgic for me. Like, it reminds me of old arcade games, reminds me of the 16-bit era. I
can imagine it's hard just to play nowadays without having previous knowledge.
Yeah.
So I feel like knowing everything about this game definitely makes it easier for us to play.
Yeah.
So I know far too much about this game.
Yeah, there is that, but I think that's part of any game. It's about learning and experience, because you got to bear in mind.
I was thinking cause when you go back to old games, there's no manual, there's no
Yeah, it comes down to how much you're willing to put time into it. If a game basically is too difficult in some ways and you don't understand the mechanics, you're going to drop it quicker. If you've got the patience to learn the game, then I think it's any game. It's that's usually when the payoff comes, because you start to get good at it.
Yeah. Kind of like a nice throwback, a nice bit of nostalgia, but I think the kind of the hitboxes and the slowness of the characters is a bit frustrating for me to be able to be like, right, I want to play all 50 levels now.
Yeah, definitely a game that it probably has cheats. I imagine it has level select or something. It'd be fun to do that, just pick up where you left off. Yeah.
So probably not.
Probably not for you. Not for you.
Yourself?
I'm actually, this is weird, because I was thinking about this, because I was like, recently played Super Mario Kart, we've done Streets of Rage in the past. This game to me, it falls in the same category where play it with a friend, don't play it on your own. I think, honestly,
it's definitely going to be more fun.
Honestly, when I realised there was a good strategy element when we were playing it, I was like, actually, I'm having way more fun than I did when I played it a year ago when I played it on my own. And when I played it on my own, I was like, this is really hard. I was just getting to grips with it, and I was really put off after the first 10 levels. I was like,
so the usual problem with those games, there's no introduction.
No, it's just
there's
bang,
no, like,
go.
There's no tutorial, it's just like, go.
Yeah.
I guess if I like played it a bit more and I actually got used to some more of that co-op strategizing, then maybe I would have enjoyed it more. So
it's
I don't know.
It's one of those games. I think it as on its own as a package, single player game. I probably will never play it on its own again. But like Super Mario Kart, like Streets of Rage and similar games of the era, it's like if someone goes, "Oh, let's play this game," I'll be like, "Yeah, absolutely." And I think for that, like because it's kind of a unique game in the fact that you don't really see games like this anymore, it does use that static screen stuff, and because you can strategize in co-op, I think that side of it holds up really well. I think the frustration comes is some of the level design, like that level with the pillars and the hitboxes on those. You get stuck to those, you get stuck to each other. That's frustrating. Yeah. Like it's almost like brings the game down. But I think the rest of the levels, or most of the levels, are fine. You're definitely going to hit like levels if you don't have the right characters that are really hard, and you're going to lose on them, or you're going to hit like points where you're just like, this is really frustrating. But I think overall, if you play it as a co-op experience, then I think, you know, if you want a fun arcade game, it holds up in that aspect. I just will never play this on single player ever again.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about it, because I did have a lot of fun playing it. If I was going to give this to someone and say play an arcade game, this probably wouldn't be the first arcade game I give them, because it is hard. You know, give them Space Invaders something a bit easier. But if someone wants a good arcade experience, then I think this is a very solid game for that. I'm not gonna rag on it like it's a worthless piece of crap, because I don't think it is. But
but that phrase just happened to come to your brain.
No,
anyway.
no. I don't think it is. I don't think it's that at all. I do think there's fun to be had.
Because it feels like they put a lot of effort into it.
I think because it's like I said, that strategy element to it.
Definitely tried to like design a strategy game in like an arcade situation.
Because I could imagine this on an arcade cabinet would be a hell of fun to play.
Yeah.
Like a really cool like arcade cabinet, absolutely. Like I just think it's that just falls in that category of single player. It's just not fun single player for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to play a game that's, especially those later levels, because I think the enemy count's always the same whether it's one player or two player, isn't it?
Yeah, the enemies don't change.
Yeah, and like some of those later levels we were having trouble with, but at least we were kind of.
I told you before, like being able to pull fire and stuff. It's like the enemies are so useful when you're playing co-op. They're playing it one player, they all target you, which makes it really difficult.
And like I don't need to play something that hard. Like I don't mind games being hard, but then there were moments in this game I was like, I cried bullshit on some of this stuff where it's like,
what was that moment when you killed the boss tank with like one tornado?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit broken.
That way, it's just like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but like. You know, to be fair though, apart from like maybe a few moments, it is actually quite a well-made game. There weren't really any glitchiness in there. There was that weird death that I had. There was that tank thing, but you could do worse.
I'm probably still going to continue playing this single and two-player. So.
Yeah,
because I have been doing on and off. So every like year, 2 years, I get like I want to play some more Game Ground. So yeah, I've been playing this.
This is like Dark Souls before Dark Souls was a thing. It's like you want to punish yourself.
Dark Souls.
Yeah, you want to punish yourself.
It's the difference between me and Levi is like our choice of like games. Like I'm all about the Dark Souls. Like
I've got Dark Souls. I haven't played it yet.
Strategy.
I like hard games. I just don't like. I don't like games to be like that punishing. I think it's the difference between being difficult and punishing.
Yeah.
I think I want a game to be difficult where I'm going to have a challenge, but I don't want to feel like I've wasted my time. I suppose is the best way to put it.
I say this falls into that category where like you learn the fights, you learn how to beat them. When I was saying about like it's like a board game where like everything's lined up on the like on the screen, so you know where the enemies are and stuff. I really like that of like stopping and thinking like, how can I like confront this? Like what characters do I have? What would be useful like here? I really like that like bit of strategy. So I'm all about.
I think that's kind of the thing that shines through. I think from all of us when talking about this is the strategy side.
Yeah.
Of it.
I wouldn't
quite
just
surprised.
give this game to someone without either playing co-op with them or like
here you go.
Being there to like monitor them on like single player, because it's not the easiest game to pick up.
Yeah.
It's not like just running to the side and pressing A or something. Like
Yeah. No,
it's not. Out of the Sega Mega Drive games I had, this was definitely probably like the weirder one.
was gonna say the hardest one, but then I realised you got that Mickey game. It's like ridiculous.
Oh, should retro reminisce on Fantasia. Now you can talk about terrible hitboxes with enemies.
We'll have to do that.
I still can't get past the first level. Maybe we do that as like April Fools or something. Like, well, I got to like happy for the first level, and Mickey's died like 12 times. And the frogs are still one-hit kills.
Yeah. Oh, Mega Drive games.
Oh my god, that game is so broken.
Oh, I love it. So overall, it seems like we've had fun with this game, but maybe
I was surprised how positive you two were.
I
you thought it was going to be worse.
Yeah,
no,
I'm used to a lot of people finding these games like really like hard or like really.
I mean, I'm a man who likes asteroids. Like that is.
I love that game.
Yeah,
it's
that's like really arcadey. Space Invaders.
I was
really
just
arcade.
expecting more negatives from you two because obviously
No,
I was
I think-
assuming I had more. I mean, I do have the most nostalgia, so I would say you guys have nostalgia for this game.
I think the biggest.
Oh, from playing it earlier this afternoon.
Yeah.
I remember like it was yesterday. It was today.
I think the biggest reason why I'm not like I said basically crapping on it is because it doesn't feel like a badly made game.
No, I'm just surprised. I was
Yeah.
expecting way more negativeness. So
It's
so good.
like in the last one we did Super Mario Kart, like there was bullshit in that game. There's bullshit in this game. It's just those games of that era where they
Doesn't mean we didn't have fun with it.
No, exactly. Like if
It's designed to take all your quarters.
Exactly.
20p's.
It's like sat down and playing any kind of game of that era. They are going to be hard. There are going to be points.
20p for one play.
yeah. I mean, it's not like it's Battletoads frustration. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think the thing is just like understanding that you need to learn. There's a lot of learning in this game. Once you've learned stuff, that's when it's fine. But to start with, that's what's frustrating because you're just like, how did I die? Why did I die? Why am I stuck to this?
Imagine if I was in that like 2000, like 1990. Going to my little arcade in Japan, like lay down my skills at gain ground, and be amazed at my playing of this.
Pretty impressive. Oh, I think that is pretty much us done. Finally did this after about a year of wanting to do it, which it's nice to be able to sit down and say we did it.
Glad to be back.
Yeah.
It's been a while for me.
Basically, it's,
maybe not for you listeners, but for me, it's been a while.
But I think it's we've got a lot more stuff planned and. Lots of games coming. So
lay something funky fresh on you.
Yeah, and we've got to go away and talk about all this stuff now, so we'll figure out what we're going to do next. But yeah, we had a good laugh with it. I'm never going to touch it again, but
And good job I was on the Mario Kart episode because I would have been so negative on that. I've never been a fan of Mario Kart.
You would have been around with the later ones, but anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, let us know what you thought. If you played the game, let us know that as well, because I want to know if anyone's actually played this.
I'm really curious if anyone's actually played this.
Or heard
because
of it.
no one's ever heard of this every time I bring this up to people. So I really want to see if anyone has heard of this.
Also, on a random note, go and look at the box art for this game, because it's really
weird.
Of that time.
It's really terrible.
It's like the old Mega Man box art game.
It reminds me a bit of Dungeons and Dragons, like the movie cover.
Yeah.
The random people just stood there like...
I love it. Thanks for listening, and it is bye from me, and it is also bye from these two.
Bye!